Oh boy, here we go. Halfway through the upper bracket quarterfinals, and we found ourselves at the start of a marvelous matchup. Vitality up against Complexity, the Prodigy up against the Bull. And only one team, Spaceman, gets to remain in the upper bracket.
There's only one way Mainstream should have ended today. Complexity and Vitality, of course, it's going to be an absolute banger. And my goodness, Zen, he has a weight on his shoulders that only he can carry, but Radosin and Alpha 54 have stepped up in the spring split. For Complexity, you need more offense than what you got in Liquid.
You talk about the weight that Zen has to carry, but I mean, if you looked, at that previous series against Elevate, he certainly carried it quite easily. Mans has been hitting the gym. I don't know what got into him in that series, but he looks to be in that same form, striking first in this series.
Bench pressing an organization as Alpha got an extra touch, and Zen filling in the slot appropriately. And that's the dichotomy you have from Vitality. One option is not enough. Zen, Alpha, anywhere on the field, they're a threat.
I mean, that just might be rep 30 of the organization. This man doesn't even do sets. He just keeps doing reps and does not stop. Zen, who could get in his way? Oh, it might be CRR, the demo, but Alpha 54 has his back. Zen deleted, it doesn't matter.
You can't count him out, and that's the defense that doesn't get talked about enough with Vitality, but Complexity, the physicality has to be on their side, forcing those issues and getting bumps on the goal line, making counterattacks difficult for Vitality.
And if we get the same Complexity that we got against Liquid, it's not gonna work, Spaceman. There has to be adjustments. They were giving up 19 shots, if I remember correctly, in a single game over to Liquid. If you give up that same amount of opportunities to Vitality, they will punish much harder.
And it wasn't just the losses of contest at the midfield, it was just also struggling to maintain that offense upfield, Turtle. They need to do a better job of holding on to the ball. But it all comes through one player. His name's Razebull.
Yeah.
He's currently on the goal line fighting with AJG.
Ooh.
As Radosin tries to peek up early, and Alpha will get the call now. Zen on deck, here he goes. We've seen this before, how dangerous they are from the corner.
We're seeing Complexity stumble on top of each other, but quickly are they to space out, and Razebull mind games one of them. Zen doesn't bite on the second challenge and understands exactly where Razebull wants to go. That's another opportunity out of Complexity that looks to be quite fruitful, but unfortunately, if you're a fan of Complexity, they are not going to get their first one on the board, but they are hunting.
And this is nice awareness from Vitality. On the counterattacks for Complexity, they're crashing the boards. Zen understands that pressure, jumps up and meets the save. Immediately the counterattack blossoms on the other side of the field. That's that presence, that awareness you want from Vitality early here. Thursday, day one of our major. As the demo will fall through, and with that, Zen will get the call. Into the corner, this should be Complexity's ball. We'll look for the clear to the midfield, and they can begin their press. On offense, Complexity haven't had a lot today, but they've got the job done, and it's been thankful of that defense as well.
And everything has been relatively last minute for Complexity in that last series against Liquid. I mean, they'd start out pretty strong, but end up having a more difficult journey as the game progressed, and this seems to be the similar story. But the first goal was all Vitality. We've seen some counterattacks out of Complexity that look promising. Razebull through the corner, can't connect, and holding pressure doesn't even seem to be an option for Complexity. Alpha through one player, can't get past the second.
And that's just an insane jump from Zen. He gets out of the midfield, back into a cut on the goal line, and immediately finds Alpha downfield. The spatial awareness from this kid. Watch him on rotations. You'll never see anything like it. Back to the neutral zone we go. Fighting for possession. Another 50 that goes away into the corner. Vitality will try to put more numbers on this. Successful for the efforts. Rewarded from Radosin. But the clear out, a dangerous one at that. AJG was waiting, and he gets punished.
There's not a lot of boost to go around for Complexity as they're getting starved out. You'll notice the rotations out of everybody from Vitality is to a corner. They go up by themselves. Here's Radosin, fakes out two players, sets up Zen. 1-2 pass connection, and Complexity look to be out of form. That's a double commit right into the hands of Zen.
And Radosin's just playing it on a lift. He's gonna get it right over your head every time. Now, Complexity made the right call, but in situations like that where you're starting to get scrambly, a busy defense is a worrisome one.
And you do understand why you'd crumble under this pressure. Complexity have only been able to get transitions. For instance, this one right here, they had, what, one, maybe two solid passes down the other side, but immediately turned around and back into their own corner goes Vitality, taking boost, looking for demos. Attempting 50-50s that'll just pop back into the hands of Zen, which is the last player you want to give any space on this field.
Isaac, the pressure hasn't stopped. Vitality are up 2-0. They're playing like they're down a goal here. For Complexity, they desperately need an opening, and that's exactly what they get. Raisebolt now starting his. Off spawn, it's Redosin, but another quick save. Zen fighting off 2 plays back-to-back and finds a clear as well. Vitality's offense thrive off it, and Zen makes the read from the ceiling.
It's always to that corner as well. Team Vitality love tossing to the right side, or rather left side of Complexity's defense. CRR, he squeezes it past one of them, but how many times have we seen that? One of Team Vitality's member just bites on a challenge, makes it an easier setup, and now we can go down to the other side of the pitch. 3-0, 33 to go. Complexity, no sign of a life here.
They tried to sneak through up midfield, and Vitality picked their pockets very quickly thanks to Zen yet again on the side wall. Saw him in the top 10 earlier, how good he is at dishing towards the midfield. For Complexity, it came down to the physicality against Liquid. It came down to connecting with Raisebolt and CRR on the backboard. They have not had any of that. The altitude completely locked up, airtight from Vitality. Under 30 to play here in game number 1. Our best of 5 still continuing on. And this is a chance now, dangerous as it might be. CRR is going to have to stabilize and give way to Redosin's possession before it finally falls back down to the turf. 10 to play.
Here we go.
Do you have anything in the tank for Complexity?
I mean, even just one for the road to get something on the board will feel good going into game number 2. Pre-jump from CRR, Raisebolt. Nice little loft shot on target, but it's not enough. Zen wants to punish it, put it on the ground, and he finally will. Vitality striking first in this series, and they're keeping up with that same level of defense. I mean, Sean, if we're talking about going back into the season and looking how they performed throughout Europe only, I mean, they had the #1 defense, only letting in 1.51 goals on average each game, and this is very reminiscent of that. They didn't even let in a single one, actually, against Complexity. Rock solid, no lapse in rotations, no double commits, and of course Zen showed up.
And usually when you see players, let's say anybody else put Zen in the situations where you're congesting the counterattacks from Complexity, when you fall out of position, they're starting to rotate, they're maybe a little bit out of the play. When Zen is breaking up those lanes, he's immediately on the sidewall finding his teammates for a pass. He's always getting out of dodge quickly and creating opportunities down the field, which makes it so difficult. And as you saw in the Mobile 1 High Performance replay, it was just all of Vitality spacing that makes them just a step ahead.
I do want to harp on the fact that every transition was met with a good challenge or somebody biting at that first initial challenge to let the follow-up out of Vitality. That second man in defense plays such a huge role. To go through, take the ball, easily possess it out of their own half, and keep control moving forward. They're not just banging it to the corner every single time. You've got dribbles, you've got passes to each other. The solo plays, of course, are there, and the air dribbles. This is a Vitality that has refined every single weapon in their toolkit, and they are utilizing it against Complexity.
Now, if we're going to strike the same chord again like we've done before, Complexity, when struggling against Liquid, what did they start to do? Get free space and real estate to Raisebolt. Allow him to work off the kickoffs.
And get more risky as well. I mean, what started working the best for Complexity was throwing a player like Raisebolt forward, and you mention his name, you called him to show up, and what does he do?
Bring back the momentum and let Raisebolt get a little dicey on the goal line. Look at the circle through an AJG in right place, right time. It's a wonderful fashion for Complexity, and Vitality had nothing but do but come in on the goal line, and, well, they find themselves down 1-0.
Perfect start for game number 2. Perfect kickoff, and the finish was absolutely perfect, I'd say, Spaceman. Here we go, though. Vitality want to strike back as soon as possible. It's been good boost starvation. Alpha's going to take the corner into the top side of the dome too, and this looks to be quite interesting. Off the kickoff, we didn't get too much out of Vitality, just looking to build anything in the midfield, but overall not connecting, and Complexity looked to be more and more aggressive as we get on.
Really working through the space now. You start to see physicality from Raisebolt, bumping into Redosin. Watch those challenges on the rotation. You have to keep that up. AJG taking the solo challenge. Redosin will cut him down very quickly. The response from Vitality back on the other side.
Complexity are getting more aggressive. I like the risks, but so are Vitality. Redosin was looking for a demo. Alpha also doesn't cut his rotation early, and he stays upfield, taking the boost, looking for a demo, letting Zen go for a 1v2 opportunity, but quickly down the other end, Raisebolt, don't let him have some backboard space. He might embarrass you. Unfortunately enough for Vitality, they get out unharmed.
Into the orange half, very little boost at the moment. Complexity need to start prioritizing those resources. It was through the corner, and pretty pass at that, but Zen will now get his chance from the ceiling. You think that it's possible as the young gun shows up yet again. Vitality still looking for their first goal here in game 2.
The team in orange absolutely loves to keep this ball high up in the air. Zen air dribbles by himself. Rarely will we see a ground play or a ground dribble out of Vitality. Eager to go up into the sky because they know they can outpace Complexity given the opportunity. Radosin trying to get a bump on CRR, who will fortunately get a transition. And it's been back and forth. I'd say game 2, we got that first kickoff goal, but it's slowed down. Not one team has been dominant, but Complexity finally getting some opportunity.
If Vitality are going to push the ball to the ceiling on the blue half, then take it away on the other side. Keep that pressure moving. As you see it there, meeting it on the point of contact, finding your teammate. 58% of the touches so far in game 2 have been Complexity. They're having possession in their favor. They're locking up possessions downfield. That's the difference between these two series.
And they're just getting more physical. I mean, even off the kickoff there, you had AJG who's taking the shot. He just went for a bump play, and I believe he found contact on a player out of Vitality. Aggressive, getting in the face of the orange squad. And that's exactly what you have to do. You can't be passive. That previous play style against Liquid, it's not going to cut it.
AJG with 4 shots, Raise Bull 1 to his name. CRR, big old donut, but looking to get involved early. And, well, Complexity have a nice little lead to show for it. How do Vitality work off the back end now? So far, the defense has stood strong, and with that, the overextension begins, and they get burned for it. That one is downrange, off the post and out. You want that one back if you're Complexity, but it's a chance nonetheless.
Still got to build some confidence, especially when you're already up 2-0. The third goal at that point would have just been some nice insurance. And trying to hold on to the lead is Complexity. 2 crossbar and out shots. Vitality, not as accurate as you'd wish.
Complexity taking away the sidewall from Vitality. It's something that really worked for the boys in yellow early.
Dribble. Going for the bump.
But it hasn't been here in game 2, and that's been the big difference. Vitality are not getting the same opportunities in space that they used to get.
But they're certainly trying to create it. I mean, look at Radosin go. Flip reset, fake opportunity, leaves it for Zen. And then there's a demo on the play. There's been movements downfield out of Vitality. It's not a flat offense by any means. I think they've just got much more of a pushback out of Complexity.
A demo traded a piece, 2 off spawn, back to full strength for both squads. Power play killed, and Raise Bull gets it back out. AJG has nowhere to go off the boards, and again, so close. Vitality still hunting for their first goal, plenty of time to do so as well.
That 4th man on Complexity doing work. The post, the crossbar, back in the midfield. Still nobody waiting to take the shot. Demos all around. There's going to be an awkward amount of space with those physical plays, but this ball has just been stuck in the Complexity half.
And what are you seeing this time now from the Vitality offense that's changed? I mean, game 1 was just so much about the spatial difference. It seems that they're getting stuck even when they have the possession upfield.
And I think they're waiting a little bit more for opportunities by themselves. I don't see as much passing in terms of risk-taking as well. It's been all Complexity looking for those demos, but this could be a risky counterattack as Radosin lands on Raise Bull, loses control of his car, and that means an easier transition is afoot for Complexity.
I've seen people try to ride the bull. It doesn't usually work out too often.
It does not.
Under 60 to play. Make it half of that. Into the midfield. Just trading possession back and forth. Again, it's been all of Complexity in this one, but it's evened out as the time has ticked away. Alpha, nice touch. CRR crashing in and saves it yet again. The defense individually from Complexity has stepped up today.
The timing is on point. Flawless, dare I say, for Complexity. Somebody's rotating in as soon as the member from Vitality goes up in the air. 5 seconds on the clock. It's running down. Time wasted for Vitality. Even if they get one, it's not enough. And an immediate response from Complexity in game 2.
And a necessary one. The last thing you want to do is go down quickly in this series 0-2. You only got 5 chances at this still in the upper bracket. You lose this, you're not done, but it does get difficult. And this is one of the heavyweight fights we expected to see in the bracket, and man, it's showing up.
And you know, Bates, he predicted Complexity. Gibbs was saying it's a free win, a free point. I have to disagree, and I'm sure that the proof is in the pudding right now. He's watching, crying on the sideline, hoping that he doesn't go down even more against Bates. And this was such a stellar adjustment for Complexity because it didn't feel like, you know, they were playing poorly in game 1. I think they just came out with a different game style, a different play style, getting aggressive, throwing players a little bit more forward. I felt like that first man would extend a bit more into the other side. And they still had that defensive approach. We still saw a lot of defense from Complexity, don't get me wrong, but there was little bursts when it was necessary.
It took a little too long against Liquid to acclimate themselves. Against Vitality, they've made small adjustments already in the game too.
And they have to. They have to.
They just look way more comfortable. And again, Vitality are probably the best team in the world right now. They have more than enough in the tool shed to be able to get this one done and figure out a rhythm for Game 3. The pressure that was on Complexity's shoulders after Game 1, they stepped up, they answered the call, and now is the time to ring that back all the way around off the kickoff. Here we go into Game 3.
Right now, I'm actually thinking, when are we going to start to see the classic Alpha 54 solo plays, the classic Alpha 54 space creation? You know, this is their first, I don't want to say real test. I think the match against Elevate was testing their emotions, their nerves on land in a match where they clearly had the advantage. Now this is their first obstacle, in my eyes, to truly jump and overcome. And now that they've got a pushback against the Bull and company, what are they going to do? What are they going to change? And they've got Farah sitting behind them.
Well, Alpha 54 is probably the best player Vitality has had in a very long time. During the spring split, he stepped up massively, carrying this squad through round after round. And then when Zen got comfortable, we saw how this team exploded. If he starts lighting up in this game, it's going to be very, very different from Complexity.
And there's still pressure for Vitality. I mean, you think back to the previous roster at the Winter Major. They made a top 8 run. And they had the experience, too, with Alpha 54 coming out here. Change up the roster a little bit, pick up the Prodigy, and I'm sure the expectations are even higher. Let's see if they can match it, as we've got more pressure out of Radostin, behind the ball, looking for a better 50-50. And this is falling into the trap, I'd say, that Vitality want to place on Complexity. But here they are, getting themselves out of it with a shovel.
Small touches just to chip off on the ball and get it laterally to the opposite wall. Pressure here and poise for the moment. Complexity following through. It's Raise Bull on your screen. We'll hop back over to CRR. Fennec in hand, trying to work around Zen, but the pop free from the young one gives a chance for Vitality to make something positive happen out of this push. Instead, they'll fall back and boost. Can't blame them. Resources intensive for the moment, as Zen will escape. And Alpha circles back, thinks twice about that challenge.
And if you look at the top left corner, you can see the boost. 0 for CRR, 0 for Raise Bull. And now a shot, it will look like a free opportunity, or at least a good chance to hit that right side of the net. And you think back to the last game, hitting the post, the crossbar several times, the accuracy has been plaguing Vitality.
Which is not something we tend to say. For a team that is so mechanical as this, for so good through the space, placements have not been a problem. But today's a very different beast. Day one of the major is always different. Raise Bull is just like that as well.
Come on.
The Bull at midfield sees red.
Oh, the sleight of hand. You don't know what he's going to do. He fakes challenges. It looks like he's going to go for an initial shot. He waits. He makes it look silly. Makes it look goofy behind the ball. And then he strikes with so much power.
And you saw how they just tempered the storm of Vitality. Give them some space. Allow them to save up that boost. Play your ISOs appropriately. And then when you escape, give Raise Bull a chance and a green light.
And it's explosive, Spaceman. We're seeing Complexity have the ability to fall back on defense, try and get things situated, get back into rotation, and they move out on offense with incredible speed and can still hit the brakes like that from Raise Bull.
And they're not making any small mistakes on defense. Complexity have fixed some of those cadences. That's been a big factor for them playing the way they are currently. Vitality doing a much better job at the midfield than they had in Game 2. 2 minutes burn here in game number 3. Just joining us, welcome into the final match here of the day on A-Stream. Of course, Complexity, Vitality fighting for their spots in the upper bracket. This is your quarterfinals matchup, best of 5. Zen from the side wall, making the ceiling, leaving it on a fake, but Raise Bull will get the clear immediately, and Complexity thanking their lucky stars.
See how Alpha turns, though. Goes quick in his own corner, finds Zen downfield. The striker waiting, but it was quickly turned around and given to Raise Bull, who is by far the deadliest member on Complexity at the moment. All 3 of them can step up like that from AJG. At this point, it's a waiting game. Complexity want to run the clock down, take the boost, burn out Vitality.
The pressure you're seeing in the sky from Vitality towards the Complexity backboard is now being met. AJG and CRR are getting up for those challenges and denying the second touch. That has changed everything. The momentum of this game has swung to Complexity. They have to keep the pressure moving as AJG goes on the hunt. And Radostin escapes. A lot of boost in his tank, was looking for the reset. Alpha 54 try to corral it back down to the ground, and Zen escapes back upfield. You have 2 men swinging, 1 on the press. It's Alpha looking for the 50 and 60 on the clock. Now it's up to Complexity.
Final 60 underway. Doesn't look like the challenges have gone in favor of Vitality either. Every time there's a 50-50, it's just out of reach of a striker or somebody who can put a shot on target. Keep applying the pressure. slowly, Vitality have been fading out of this series. Game 1, they made their mark, left their stamp. Game 2, it was all complexity. And now they've got to fight against the 36 seconds remaining. One more drive, maybe 2 at best, unless RazeBull makes it another one. 2-0. Vitality getting buried in Game 3.
Fighting through the Fennec, fighting through the bumps, a bulldozer as CRR and RazeBull combine. And the power of friendship's a pretty good thing. Complexity 2-0, 31 to play. My goodness, nothing is waving this team off. Vitality off the kickoff, need to find an answer.
Firing on all cylinders is Complexity. This could be good though out of Vitality if they could just get a better 50-50s. Then wanted a flip reset. Anything else? I mean, look at these challenges. Even CRR, he wins it, recovers it in the corner, and then can dribble out. That is huge out of Complexity. 15 to go. Pass across, then doesn't find it. Another booming clear. Time running out. Match point on the line for Complexity. If they can just hold things down, and it looks like they will. We're going on, and Vitality on the ropes.
The adjustments are real. Do not correct your screens. Do not adjust your monitors. If you're watching on something else, Godspeed. Because my goodness, it has been Complexity.
Dude, I know Bates is shaking right now. You've got to be as nervous as you could be. And, you know, watching a team, watching your favorite, whatever roster it is on RLCS, I feel like the most nervous you get is when they're this close to tasting the win. They're inches away from getting the W. And right now, Complexity, one more game is what they need. And even just looking at the shot differential, Vitality have been held to 3 in that game alone.
You keep Zen under 200 points, he gets 1 shot. Complexity are harder to break than the Nokia phone. I don't know how this came to be. I don't know what changed, but it's the spatial awareness. It's the confidence, letting RazeBull get comfortable. And so often, we're seeing the confidence through those challenges.
Yes.
Complexity aren't falling back on the counterattacks and waiting in turtle defense. They're moving up. They're taking opportunities to fight through the possession, to fight Vitality on the point of contact. And that has given them this current lead going into Coliseum.
And nobody can forget about the mind games. I mean, at this point, I think Complexity are in the heads, in the mentality of Vitality. Rhyme not intended. You got a mind game in there. RazeBull, hit the brakes, let them fly across. At that point, you're debating, okay, is Complexity gonna hit the brakes here? When do I go for a challenge? When do I push forward? The questions that Vitality have got to be asking themselves. Will they find confidence on match point? Complexity, 1 game away.
If Vitality can win this series, it'll clinch them a World's main event spot. But they have to get through Complexity.
There we go.
And
there we go.
With one of the best in the world, Alpha 54, early on.
This was much needed. I mean, you have to have a good start. Radosin is getting aggressive. He takes the boost. RazeBull tries to turn. Can't even get a touch on it. And a free one, dare I say, given to Alpha. Huge start in game number 4.
We've seen the kickoffs be deadly before. Victims for Complexity. Succeeding for Vitality. Into the blue side. Alpha fighting around the backboard, Zen circling, thinking, pondering about the next move and what it might be. As Rook moves up to the midfield, now Pawn takes Pawn. CRR leaves it on a dime back to Alpha 54, so possessions back and forth. We're trading hands. Quick shot, better save from CRR.
He's also got to dodge the demo. The physical game has been picked up out of Vitality. I've seen demos like that. Bump plays in the air, you leave the ball, go for a man, try to delete him, take him off the pitch. Makes it that much easier. Radosin back into the sky, looking to come down from the heavens. Can't crash the net in time, but the shots keep coming.
And that's what you need if you're Vitality. Don't give Complexity time to breathe. Whether they have boost or not, put the pressure on. Get your best strikers at the midfield and give them a chance to make a play. Nice little fake from RazeBull. Nothing in the tank, though. Zen can play with his food here. And instead, it'll be more pressure from RazeBull. Back to the midfield line we go.
Oh, look at that 50, though, out of Radosin. We haven't seen a challenge like that in quite some time. Alpha's over 1 player. Doesn't get a touch against AJG. More composure from Radosin, too. This has been beautiful from Vitality. Holding pressure, winning challenges, taking boost. They realize what they're up against. The defensive Complexity has been top-notch, but with that first goal, they know they can break through.
And they're leaving their island upfield. Radosin's staying overextended. He's waiting for those extra rebounds off the sidewall. Vitality are playing very aggressive right now, and they're letting Zen work through the corner. Now is a chance for Complexity to really put their foot down and force Vitality back.
Yeah, it looks like that possession had to at least lead to something, but it will just get immediately denied. Go back down the other end. RazeBull wants to dribble, keep it grounded against Zen, who might be one of the best 1v1 players we've ever seen. I don't think you're going to win that battle. But in we go to the Vitality half.
What do you have in the store? What's potentially in the closet? How many skeletons can you find? Razebull hunting upfield. Quick takeaway from Zen. Can he recover? It's going to be tough.
And
he'll just pinch it sharply to the opposite side.
I don't think anybody would
Can't hate him for the attempt at all.
Honestly, I'll take that, though. I mean, you want to pitch across. Maybe not a double commit like that out of Radosa and Zen. It's not going to matter in the end, though, because they can hold pressure, keep running this clock down. Booming clear down the other side, and this happens a lot. Complexity will get one clear, maybe hold possession 10 seconds max, but it's immediately turned around. Vitality's defense has not been threatened all game long. I haven't even seen a single opportunity that looks like it could yield something.
And with how long Zen was playing in the back line, Complexity have to know he's saving up for a chance upfield. He's saving for an aerial. Try to hunt him down if you can.
Oh my, what a touch.
That will not be on target before Razebull gets back in time. Pokes the three back into play. Al54 cutting down. Vitality numbers up. Here's the press. AJG to the corner. And what could have been a bowling ball attempt. And it almost beat through. Diving save on the wrist shot. As Zen comes up yet again for the pop. Big stop from CRR.
And it looked like that was the only spot that could have slipped in for Team Vitality, and the accuracy picked up. They're hitting their stride in game 4 to take us the distance, so long as we don't see something crazy out of Complexity. We almost got it there. Couple of shots off the ceiling, couple of passes coming through, but it's all getting read. Complexity, they've been downloaded by Vitality.
Oh, he can't go anywhere. It's such a great read, but it's an even better save from AJG.
We're still within one.
He crashes into the net. And how did Complexity survive this? Now they get a chance on the counterattack, and you got to get back out to the midfield with numbers as well. CRR is getting hunted by Alpha54 into the corner. It's a race for boost. Back to the midfield, CRR pushing up. He's the only one in the lane. AJG is back, and Razebull gets the call. It's going to be slow, and Vitality will be there, crashing to the left side. All numbers up. Vitality survives.
That's a good 50-50, though. And then to the corner, AJG was prepared for the shot. Back into the midfield. The shots keep coming. The passes are all there. But Vitality stands tall on the goal line. We're still within one. 35, Complexity showing signs of life here as we wind down before we might go into game 5.
One blink of the eye, splitting atoms as CRR was flying right over. You'll believe he can fly in a moment. 20 to play. Complexity looking to get back up to midfield. Alpha, with no boost, still manages to make this one difficult. How tough can it be for Complexity? There's the pass. Oh, what a shot would have been. Follow-up from CRR. Of course it is. 11 seconds, one on the board. Make a wish, it comes true.
And think back, this wouldn't even have been possible, Spaceman, if AJG didn't get that goal line save off the crossbar. He kept his team alive. They move forward. They're relentless. And 11 seconds in, or left, they're going to get that tying goal. Here we go. Let's see if something crazier can happen before we get into OT.
Champions Field is among us. But something suspect's happening with Complexity. We could be going to OT. That's still up for Zen. CRR very appropriately cuts that one down. Needed to. Will it touch? It will. Here we go. Golden goal opportunity. Match point. Complexity. Can they do it?
We're one goal away for Complexity.
Oh, no.
Kick. Oh, that's it. That's it. I was going to say something stupid. I was going to go in, talk about Complexity, but it's a single kickoff that sends us into game 5.
Of course it is. It's always the kickoffs. That's been the staple as of late in the RLCS, and my goodness.
Kickoffs, man.
Does it come back to bite them again? We got Champions Field. Turtle, there's no other way we should have settled this.
That's got to be the biggest relief, too, for Vitality. I mean, you almost give up that game. 11 seconds left. You drop your lead. Your 1-0 lead. Complexity are about to take you down and knock you into the lower bracket. But what happens? Oh, it's a good kickoff. Oh, it's a good cheat. A free goal? Okay, thank you so much. I'll take that. Complexity, send us back in a game.
Let's jog the memories real quick. Vitality will clinch main event at Worlds if they win this series. They are 5 minutes away from making that a reality for Complexity. That is one you just can't think about. You got to shake it off and go to Champions Field with a new mindset.
I'm hoping that they don't even know that, honestly. If you're up there, you don't want to add any pressure at this point. You are locked in. Nothing can take you out of this individual series. That's all that matters. But of course, we can watch and we can try and understand what's going to happen if we see Vitality guaranteed at the World Championship. But moving on to game number 5. Boy, oh boy, I don't even know what to say. This has been back and forth. I came into this thinking Vitality, honestly, we're going to smack Complexity. I didn't think the defense would hold up. I was not convinced against Liquid. We needed to see a step up, and that is exactly what we got. but Vitality have fought back and kept it close.
Do the stars align for Complexity, or does the sting and the poison that seeps throughout finally kick in? Vitality so close, Complexity so far, but we're now in Champions Field. It all comes down to one 5-minute match. Complexity trying to keep their upper bracket hopes alive for Vitality, a world's main spot on the line.
Pinch across. You want to see Vitality hold on to the possession. I mean, that's something they were doing fantastic in the last game. And now the striking off the post and out. That's the last thing you want to see. If you're a Vitality fan, get rid of the post, get rid of the crossbar, because here comes Complexity.
30 seconds burned, both teams have their chances. The placement's been good. Accuracy kicking back up as well for both squads. About dead even on possession as well. CRR will leave it to Razebull. There's the pass. Potential fake. We'll call it a tactical whiff. As AJG gets it back into play, and Razebull will think twice back out to boost.
The speed has been, I'd say, in favor of Complexity in the first minute. Getting up the challenges quickly, and I think Complexity is a team that, you know, they lose one game and they're going to bounce back immediately with aggression, with speed. You remember back after game 1, Vitality looked so dominant. What happened game 2? It was all Complexity. This could be the same story after they just lost game number 4. And it looks like they're trying to ramp up the pace, get involved, bring it to Vitality.
And they took away the sidewall and kept the pressure up on the backboard. They didn't allow Vitality to win those rebounds. CRR and Razebull specifically stood out in game 2 and changed the momentum of Complexity. So far, couple of demos, and did Razebull catch him off the crossbar? AJG can't secure it, and the Demons from Vitality will be very grateful that this one is still 0-0.
Razebull with the illusion, the mind game, one more time. But this one is slightly different because it's not accurate. Couldn't get the follow-up. They're going to have to go back to the drawing board, but they're still on offense, still holding a good amount of pressure.
The more these series change, the more they stay the same. It's been
consistent.
Did he get it? He did, but Razebull can't find the pitch. It's a little bit like what Zen had earlier, but just a more difficult angle. As AJG misses that touch, so does Zen. Everybody's starting to get a little uncomfortable at midfield.
Back-to-back chances. Gone, slipped out of the hands of Complexity. They even worked for it. They got the demo, got the pass across, but the striker, the third man, not ready enough. Another shot fired towards the backboard, towards the back of the net. And yet we remain scoreless at halftime.
Oh, he might have got it.
Alpha. Don't do it to him.
So close. Big jumps from Zen and Alpha into the lane to make it difficult for Complexity. CRR trying to win it on the top of the Fennec. Does enough on the 50 before AJG gets his turn. And we'll hit the reverse quickly. Back to the midfield. Alpha from the side. And taken away off the backboard. Complexity denying the altitude yet again.
What a read from Zen. Intercepting the passes. At least slowing down the counterattack by a few seconds. Letting his team grab boost isn't enough, though. AJG quickly gets up for it and sets up Razebull.
What a touch.
Another 50-50 going in favor of Complexity. They're winning challenges. The speed outperforming Vitality, but the defense, even with a crack in the armor, it's not enough to get through.
It's these infield cuts from Complexity. It's making it tough. You have to force the ISO call on the opposite side of the field for Vitality. They don't have a lot of infield passing. Power play here. Rodostin circling through.
Oh no. Oh no.
We're starting to struggle a little bit, but you have more than enough mechanically to get this one done. Vitality looking for a goal.
And even when they do struggle with the double commit like that, quick are they to get back into rotation. CRR gives away a free air dribble to Alpha 54, who wanted to at least get a bump something else as the ball did get away from him. Vitality are setting up shop, laying down their sleeping bags. They want to stay in this half as long as they can.
Something's rustling in the bushes. Be careful where you camp.
Might be a bear. Something spooky here. Because Complexity, one counterattack, and you never know what can happen, especially when you send 2 people for a challenge.
They win as well. The rebound's still theirs. AJG trying to recover, making it very difficult on the clear game. Possession still for Razebull on the pinch on the ceiling. Back down. AJG will pop it high and out free yet again. Possession to Vitality. They clear it away just to breathe for a second.
Still scoreless in game 5. Nobody has hit a shot, hit a play, done something creative enough to get through the stellar defense that we've been witnessing all series long. Maybe Alpha 54 by himself could do it, but it's not enough. AJG in the path. And 25 on the clock as we get underway to a potential overtime.
They're not giving Razebull that look. They're not letting him get upfield for free. They're cutting down the passes from Complexity, but that's fine. you get more than an opportunity to hold on to this ball. Alpha is down, leads off of the fake, and there's another big save from Complexity. They stand strong with under 10 to play. 5, the game clock turned off. CR has escaped upfield, and now 54 is finding a way to move it forward.
10.
Here comes Zen for the win, but it's saved from RazeBull. It will touch yet again, back-to-back, golden goal to decide it all.
One goal, one mistake, and you move on, or you get knocked down to the lower bracket. Team Vitality, I'm sure almost everybody had them moving into the grand finals, making a deep run. Everything could be shocked here if Complexity can hit one shot, can hit one creative pass. But I don't know, you've got a monster like Zen on the other side that you have to fear.
Graceful at the midfield, wonderful on the counterattacks. Both teams have had their fair share. CRR to RazeBull to CRR. It was beautiful. AGG off the post. Nobody's around. And it's a breakaway chance. Zen wide open. There it goes. Vitality. Do you believe it?
You missed your chances, your one opportunity. It's off the post, and all the way back down to the other side we go. Look at the pop-off from the players. Vitality, they were facing a lower bracket run. They were on the ropes. Complexity had them in match point space, man. They even had the finishing shot, and they missed it, only to give Vitality one chance to seal the deal, and they did it.
Kickoffs are the spirit that roam the haunted mansions that live inside of RazeBull, CRR, and AJG.
That's gotta be painful.
Vitality now clinches main event at World.
What?
They were down 2-1. Complexity had everything going for them. Momentum, spacing, counterattacks, offense, pressure, cadence, communication. Vitality worked through it. They get involved, and they cut down the lanes that RazeBull had available in 2, 3, and 4. They step up in 5. They answer it in overtime. 2 back-to-back. That is ice from Vitality on the biggest stage.
And we can sing the praises from Vitality all day long, of course, but I can't stop looping that final shot from Complexity in my head. That was it. That was the game winner. They had it. They had the setups. All game
3
5.
up. All three up. They had it.
That's when you push up. I mean, you can't even blame them for overextending. That is your one shot chance. Your one shot. I just mixed those two words together. Your one opportunity to move forward. And you just don't find the accuracy when it's time to clutch up. That got to hurt.
I mean, look.
I want to see it again. I need to see this again.
The positive takeaways here for Complexity. They're not out of the tournament.
Okay, there's one. There's another opportunity that could have gone their way. I mean, so many chances for Complexity. Vitality, I want to credit their defense, but man, oh man, this was...
The defense for Complexity was absolutely absurd in this game 5. But look, Complexity, not out of the tournament, put up a ridiculous fight against the world's best. They had everybody up.
Hold up. I wasn't looking at the time. Hold on. Just
another huge save.
Just let me get into OT. Just let me see it. There it is. No, it's not it. Okay, I guess we're... You know what? I didn't want to see it anymore. Let's just throw it to the interview because, my goodness, that was crazy.
I mean, it was crazy. Team Vitality got it done in a nail-biter. The #1 seed coming out of Europe gets it done and locks in top 6 and a main spot for Worlds. I just got to know, how does it feel to finally get that one locked in?
Alors, Vitality, ils ont réussi à valider, donc vous avez réussi à valider le top 6. Et en plus, eh ben, avec ce top 6, vous validez également une place au main event des Worlds. Qu'est-ce que ça fait d'avoir cette place de validée maintenant pour vous?
I think it's crazy because it's my first World and it's crazy to be in main event so it's amazing for everyone, I think.
No, it really is amazing, especially after the split that you guys had. And I want to go back to Winter because you guys got top 8 in the major and then you made this big roster move. But I think everyone knows why, because you had Zen sitting on the sidelines. So what was it like and what was the biggest obstacle to overcome after forming a new roster?
Alors, si on revient au Winter Split, vous avez réussi à faire top 8 à San Diego. Et puis, vous avez donc fait ce changement. On sait tous pourquoi, parce que vous aviez Zen. Quel a été le plus grand obstacle pour vous à surmonter après ce changement de joueur au sein de votre équipe?
I think the most obstacle was the first match of Zen, in RLCS. That was the most hard thing to do. And after his first match, we didn't have a lot of obstacle I think.
That's fair enough because you guys took first place in all 3 regionals, swept the region entirely, which was so crazy. And I'm sure you heard, unless you don't go online, but there were doubters out there that didn't think that you guys were going to amount to anything. They didn't believe in Zen. How does it feel to just shut all of them up?
Alors, je pense que tu as pu voir sur les réseaux sociaux et tout, mais il y avait aussi des gens qui doutaient du coup de Zen et de l'équipe après ce changement. Qu'est-ce que ça fait pour toi maintenant de voir que vous avez réussi à finalement taire toutes ces bouches qui ne croyaient pas en vous?
I think, like, to be honest, no one cares in the team, like, of social media. Like, if someone say like Radozin is bad, Zen is bad, or something like that, we don't care. We just play your game and we improve together.
Now I've got one more question, and it's for one on the sidelines. Hey, Farah, did you bring that whiteboard with you or what? Where's it at? Is it coming out on stage or is it back there to draw up all the plays? The whiteboard, where's it at? He said he got one for the practice room, but you know, day one, that's a wrap for us up on the stage. We had some great matches. Let's go back to the desk to wrap it all up nice.